What's good, y'all, and welcome to our review for this week's episode of Attack on Titan. Bro, this was once again another fucking banger episode. Absolutely amazing, man. Loved it. Oh, so much good shit, man. Like, that shit with Annie, honestly, was fucking hilarious. I just kind of just a couple of water, man. But, yo, a couple things I want to talk about real quick before we jump right into this actual review for you guys. First off, I don't know, I guess it's now been like officially confirmed, or at least I just found out about this last night, that we finally did get the episode count for the final season of AOT. So we're this season is only going to end up being 12 episodes. I was literally like on Mal, checking it like last night while I was watching Tsunami, because I got an update in the shows like Shenmue and everything. That's why I noticed that they changed the episode count from like question marks on AOT to 12 episodes. Now I've already heard rumblings that the show was gonna be like 12 episodes beforehand, but now we finally got like the official confirmation that yeah, it's only gonna be 12 episodes. Kind of surprising because the first half of season 4 was like 16 episodes, so the truth is this is gonna be 12 episodes, and word on the street is that we're gonna get a movie that'll actually like adapt the actual ending of Attack on Titan, man. Which we'll have to wait and see on that if Mappa goes that route. We are gonna be getting a movie for AOT, or if they're just gonna adapt everything in these 12 episodes, which we only got like about 4 or so, I think, episodes left now. But yeah, regardless of that, we finally got the episode count. Also, the dub. We got to talk the dub real quick, because this was the episode where we find out Eren announces that he reveals that he was never a part of Zeke's plan and everything. And Bryce killed it, man. I loved his performance. I loved how Funimation changed the dialogue in the scene where Eren says, "What kind of person do you take me for? I would never go with such a repulsive plan like that, man." Fucking amazing, man. I loved how Funimation redid that line, man. Honestly, I think I prefer it over the Japanese, honestly, at least the subtitles. But yeah, great shit. Next week, of course, you guys know is the Garish episode, which I mentioned before. You guys are going to be getting the double reactions for that when that drops next week. And yeah, man, without further ado, let's just jump right into the actual episode. So he starts this episode off with Hanji sniping the Jaegers that were tracking her down. For some reason, she's crying. Don't know why, but anyway, we then get back to her. She gets Levi after she's like hit him under these bushes, and then they're like deeper into the forest. She has like a fire pit and everything, and she's like doing stitches on Levi, which we actually get to see his face in. Yeah, our boy is pretty fucked up, man. Like, he got stitches through his eyes and everything. Basically, almost the entirety on like the left side of his face has been completely fucked up. And this is when we see it after it's stitched up. I would have loved to see the gruesome details and like what his face actually looked like before Hanji stitched him up. That I'm curious about. That I would like to see on what the hell happened to his face. Because, bro, it could not have been a pretty sight, man. It could not have been a pretty sight. But anyway, as she is stitching it up, she's like, it must be the same reason why you're still alive. Like, that even after like Zeke, turned everyone to Titans and you were the sole survivor, it must be for the same reason why you're still alive, even with this injury. Which, like as we saw, he got fired in point blank range with the thunder spear. So, and we honestly see his face got blown off a bit. So realistically, he should have died. But anyway, she says that even you're still alive, so it must be because you're in the car. You're in the attack. So after she manages Levi up, she's just sitting there wondering what to do next, because she mentions that they can't stop Levi, that they obviously can't stop Zeke by themselves, and that even if Eren betrays Zeke, the Jaegers still will rule the island with the spinal fluid, so they would just be on the run for the rest of their lives. And she kind of like looks over at Levi and wonders if they should just live together. That is when she and Levi are transported and see the vision, or whatever you want to call it, of Eren saying, "Oh, by the way, all of you are going to die except the Eldians. Fuck you," So she's obviously shocked by this revelation. And also, a little bit earlier in the episode, she actually mentioned that, I guess we just have to leave it to Armin and Pixis now, which, funny. It's just like, Pixis, she doesn't know. Got turned to a Titan and died and everything, man. It's been heartbreaking, man. This was the episode on Tsunami, was the episode where Pixis gets turned into a Titan too, so works on that level too. Anyway, so this is it. So then Levi, actually after the vision, Levi actually rises up, and Hans instantly puts him back down, tells him to lie down because his injuries and everything, and that's when she tells her and he asks where Zeke is. She tells him that he went back to Shiganshina, and we already know what happened with him, with Eren and everything, and that, or rather, Levi says that he failed. That he failed to realize realize the determination of Zeke to die for his cause, and he let him get away again. And we also see that while Levi's saying this, we also see that he lost 2 of his fingers. 2 of his fingers. So not only did my man's face get blown up, but he also lost 2 of his fingers for his troubles. And they were like the 2 fingers he used for like the triggers on the ODM gear, which makes me wonder, how is he going to use the ODM gear in that hand? Is he just going to, is just going to have to hold the thing upside down to use his other 2 fingers to pull the trigger, or what? Because he's still, I assume his other hand is fine. He still got all 5 of his fingers there, but yeah. So not only, Levi got his face blown up, and he also lost a couple of fingers for troubles. My man just taking L's today, man. Taking L's. So afterwards, Levi asks Hanji, what is she making? And we see that like wagon that we saw Hanji carrying with Levi on it, and earlier on or at the end of the last episode. And he asks her if he plan on carrying me on that by horse. And then she says that I know you're not the type who can just stay still outside of the action. And so then that's when we get transported back to, I guess, current time, where Levi is meeting up with Pieck as well as the commander, and tells her that his goal is to kill Zeke. So, and he says our interests align, and I guess this is also when we find out their full names, where apparently Pieck's last name is Finger, unless these translations are off. Yeah, Pieck Finger is apparently Pieck's full name, and Theo Magath. Yeah. Interesting names. Why Finger, though? Pieck Finger? Why? Is that supposed to be a reference or something that I am unaware of? I don't know. But either way, the commander says Levi, and he's heard about how his skills are revealed across the 9 Titans, and then he pulls out his gun and asks him how does he intend to dodge his bullets. And Levi says, I can't dodge any bullets. But I've presented myself in this miserable state to my enemy. Will you shoot me, or will you listen to what I have to say? And then he says, and then after some time, he puts his gun down and says, before I shoot you, you said you wanted to kill Zeke. Where is he right now? And that's where Hanji says that he believes that Eren has absorbed, and so he can use the royal blood and, of course, use the fountain. Pieck then realizes that Hanji is someone that knows basically everything there is about Titans, even more than Marley, which, to be fair, she probably does. To be fair, man, Hanji probably does know more about Titans than Marley is, just because that was basically her entire character throughout most of the previous 3 seasons of Attack on Titan. Was just that she was just like this crazy survey corps shit that was just obsessed with Titans and just loved to dissect them and learn more about them. So, and we've never really seen that type of character in Marlia, So, because then now the Titans she had to dissect and everything, ever she's learned having such a keen interest on Titans, it would make sense that she probably would know more about Titans than the people of Marley. So I don't think so. I think we can all agree Pieck probably isn't wrong when she says that. But anyway, as I was saying, she asks her if she's ever seen the founding for herself, and she says, "I know it's unbelievably large and seems impossible to beat." And then she says, "Let's combine forces." So then after that, we cut back to Shiganshina, where the colossal Titans are still walking around, and you can still hear the rumbling. And we basically see that nobody can get no damn sleep with this goddamn noise. Which is understandable. I mean, you're basically listening to non-stop earthquakes outside. We see Jean, he's just sitting in his bed with his covering his ears, just looking like absolutely dead. Absolutely dead, while you just hear the Mika says she's laying in her bed, but she ain't sleeping either. She's crying and stuff. But then we weirdly see that Annie's roommate is sleeping just fine through all this noise. And of course, as we know, later in the episode, Reiner is in coma, so my man's just chilling. He's vibing. He's chilling. He's chilling with all this goddamn noise. Legit, guys. Imagine trying to sleep while this is going on outside. You probably couldn't get any sleep with you, if not from the noise, just from the vibrations would probably just be enough to keep you from sleeping, man, or get in any decently comfortable position, man. Oh man, definitely do not envy them in that position, man. Definitely don't envy them. Anyway. While that's going on, we also see Gabi and Armin are on horseback chasing after Connie and Falco. So, So as they're going, so then we see Connie and Falco. They kind of like they're kind of like, now we see them they're like at like fireplace. They're obviously sleeping over for the night. And at this point, this is where Connie is just like, fuck. How the hell am I gonna get my mom to eat this kid? And he's like trying to, and he's like realizing he's a good kid, and he like, does he really trust me? And we see his hands are over his head, and he's trying to figure out how he's gonna do this, because he has to be smart about it. If he ends up getting the kid injured, he can end up realizing that he has Titan powers, and obviously that will be very bad for our man for Connie. So you have to just be smart and figure out a good idea to keep him in his mouth without obviously not injuring him and making him find out he has Titan powers and all that shit. And so as he's having his hands over his head, and it's just kind of like almost curling into a ball. It's just like, he's like, Sasha, do you understand how I feel? And so then we cut to them on horseback when they finally reach Rango Village. And Falco is like, hey, I thought you said you were going to take me to a hospital. Why are we in this abandoned village? He's like, oh, don't worry, I just wanted to show you something interesting. So we get finally, and that's when they finally get over to where Connie's house is, which we now see that they actually have like this drape over it, obviously to cover up that there is Titan inside. So so this is when Falco says, "Hey, is this Rango Village?" And Connie starts freaking out. He's sweating bullets. He's shit bricks, man. He's like, "Fuck! How does he know this?" He's like, "Yes." I'm like, "How do you know?" And then Falco tells him that he heard him talking in his sleep. And he also said, Sasha, that was a friend that Gabby murdered in the airship, right? And he asked him if he's going to get his revenge on him. And he says no, he understands that wasn't the key to that. So then that's when he pulls open the drape over from his house, revealing his mom, who is in literally the exact same position as we saw her in season 2. Arms, eye, position, everything. It's like literally like almost like they just draped over the original animation stuff from season 2 again. Obviously they didn't, but I'm just making a joke because she was literally like the exact same position. Also, this woman never blinks once throughout the entire, unless I blinked and missed it. This woman throughout this entire section of the episode, from right here up to where obviously what happens at the end when Connie saves Armin, we never once see this woman blink. She literally just stares at them, man, like, which kind of creepy, man. Not gonna lie, that's kind of creepy. Like, please, woman, for the love of God, blink. Anyway, so then he opens the drip. Connie Falco rather, is shocked that he sees they sees the Titan Connie. He says, "Don't worry, she can't move." And so then they just kind of look at each other, and like you would see Falco's eye. He's getting scared, man. He's like worried. I'm like, what the hell is Connie's plan? What is he gonna do? And so as they're both just kind of looking at each other, Connie then just says, "Oh, I was hoping you could help me brush your teeth." And he has like these bruises on his fucking face, man. His fucking face, man. Like this, Connie got like the worst poker face I've ever seen, man. Like, bro, it's like fake smile and everything. He's just like, "Oh yeah, this plan, please take the plan, please, hey, please, please." Please accept this plan and just go along with it, And so he's like, "Oh, not so often you get to experience like this." And it took me a second. I'm like, "What the hell is this man on?" And it took me a second to realize, oh, clever bastard. That's how he's gonna get Falco in his mom's mouth, by having him climb this ladder and having him slip into it, so obviously she can inherit the Titan. So he tells Falco to climb this ladder and get on top of this pillar or whatever to brush her teeth. And right as he's about to maybe climb the ladder, that's when of course Gabby and Armin finally show up, and Gabby's telling him, don't go up the ladder. He's trying to feed you to his mom. And then after that's when Connie takes him as hostage and takes out his sword and puts it right in front of Falco's neck. So Connie then goes crazy, starts screaming his head off, telling them to stay back, don't come any closer, and that you would not know how I feel. Somebody as righteous as you wouldn't understand an idiot like me. And so he's just screaming, he's just going crazy, man. It's like as Armin and Gabby on their horses, and as Connie is slowly backing away and climbing up the ladder with Falco still in him, with Falco still wrapped around his arms. And so that they're just kind of just wondering on like what the hell are they going to do, or what to do. And Gabby tells Falco to use the power of the jaw. Falco obviously doesn't know what the hell she's talking about, and asking what happened to Mr. Gilliard, which we know obviously he died and he ate him, but you know he still doesn't know. I am very curious when we're actually going to see Falco's first transformation to a Titan. That's going to be interesting, man. That's going to be cool. That's going to be a cool moment whenever we finally get to see that. Anyway, Armin has no idea what the hell he's going to do as Gabby is screaming to him, like, no, stop, as she's like crying. So Armin doesn't know what he's going to do. And then we get a brief flash back to Erwin. And he says, Gabby, please forgive Connie. So that's when he uses the ODM gear to get on top of that pillar that's basically right above his mother's mouth. And Armin is just sitting there, looking at her, basically looking at the face of death, basically. And Falco, Connie starts holding the blade close to his neck, like, hey, I told you to stay back. And so he's just standing there, he's just looking at it. Connie starts to wondering, what the hell is Armin doing? Why is my man looking at his mouth? Why does he have that look on his face? And he's saying, say something, Armin. He says, didn't you tell me to shut up? and then that was not very funny. And so he said, and he said, that's why I'll show you through my actions. And then he falls and then he falls off the pillar, go in the direct path to Connie's mom's mouth, obviously about willing to let himself get eaten, let her turn back into a human or a Titan shifter. So I'm like, oh shit, is Armin actually gonna die? Is Connie actually gonna let this go down? Is he actually going to let Armin sacrifice himself? But no, he drops Falco and races after him and charges and manages to grab him and get him out of the way. Which actually, if you pay attention to the background, you can actually see Connie's mom's like straight up like following them as he manages to save him, and then we just see her just like with her face closed, like her teeth out there, her mouth closed, just staring at Armin and Connie. Kind of creepy, man. Kind of creepy face, but that's something I noticed. And then we see close up on her eye. Just like the detailing on her eye, man. Seriously, like there's like Mappa didn't need to go this detail with her eye, man. Seriously, there's like you can see like the iris and everything, man. Like it looks amazing, man. Seriously, Mappa don't miss with eyes. They do some damn good eyes, man. But anyway, afterwards, Gabby and Colt kind of console each other as they're both Gabby and Colt. Colt's dead. He does say Colt, but they're Gabby and Colt consoling each other as they're crying, and Connie asks Armin what he going to do had he not saved him. And Armin says your mother would have turned back into a human, and she would have inherited the Colossal Titan. And so then, interestingly, Connie then says that I should have known that I'll just end up making her suffer more. Which I found that interesting, and I'm curious what he means by that. I guess because she would have been a Titan shifter, she would only have had like 12 years to live, and then she would with everything going on. Most likely, I feel like that's what he's most likely referring to. And then he tells that his mom wanted to send him off and tell him that telling him to be a good soldier, but yet he came so close to killing children as well as one of his close friends. And then he says that he wants to be a soldier that his mom can be proud of, and that he wants to save those in need. And that's when we transition from Gabby and Falco and everything there back over to Shiganshina. We finally see who took Mikasa's scarf. And it was that same bitch that's been simping over this woman since season 4. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, she indeed straight up took her scarf. I don't know when and how she grabbed it, because I don't remember her actually wearing it when she got blown up. But regardless of such, so when Mikasa finally meets him, and she said that I was looking all over for it. He's like, oh, were you here for me, or perhaps the sky? I'm sorry, I thought bringing you would bring me closer to you. Don't know how that would even happen, but whatever. So she says that there's a Sunder Spear like fragment stuck in her stomach and they can't get rid of it, and that she won't be able to see the free world that Eren will make, and that apparently, and she actually did get a moment where she met Eren, and apparently Eren told her to trash Mikasa's scarf. Don't know how true that is, especially given how we know about Eren, how he's basically been playing everyone for fucking fools this entire time, but just something. And then she's like, oh, but if this scarf will end up in a dump, end up in a dump. That's when Mikasa just interrupts her and tells her just to give it back to her. And then Mikasa finally takes her scarf back, and she says, I'm canceled because I admire you. I have no regrets, and because I live, dedicate my heart to chase that you. And as she said that, Mikasa's leaving. She's like, I do not give a fuck what you're saying, boy. So then after that, that's when we finally see the last bit of the Colossal Titans from the walls finally start to leave the area, and media they'll no longer gotta deal with those rumbling noises as other Survey Corps members are grabbing the corpses. So then we get back to inside of like this, like I don't know, this base or whatever, I don't know how this place is called. Flouch saying that the Eldian army has been persecuted for over a century, but now we have won, and thanks to our liberator Eren Yeager, we have now ruled the world. Blah blah blah. Shingo Sasayo, Shingo Sasayo, Shingo Sasayo. But as Flouch is making it seem, the one of the guys says, he's like, hey, Mikasa, you gonna join them, and become on the commander? And she's like, no. And then she looks over at John, who we see looks like he is joining with Flouch. But then we go back to Mikasa's face, and the look on her face is honestly haunting. The look of that look on her face, man, Jesus, that put the fear of God into you, man. Like God. So then we're down into like this festival, I guess everyone's celebrating victory, where we see Connie, Gabby, Armin, as well as, and Armin. I thought there was someone else. They're now in this festival to grab some pies. They're just trying to eat something, get some drinks, everything. Like they want to make it to the detour, but they're like, the kind tells them we need to fill our stomachs. So as they continue, as they finally sit down, they mentioned if Armin taught them if the Harding is done, not Annie should also. And if you actually were paying attention to the background while Armin said, you could already see that Annie was literally sitting right next to them, as she's just casually munching down her own pies as Armin is talking. But after she says Annie starts coughing up the pies, and everybody looks over that general direction, and they all see Annie with her face covered in pie. And then she just looks over with like her mouthful of pie and crumbs everywhere before she starts chewing a lot quicker and swallowing it. And then Connie starts to mock her and be like, oh, she's stuffing her face full of pie. She's gobbling it down and she's a sloppy, and he's just like pointing and laughing at her. Was there like some beef between Connie and Annie back in season 1 that I completely forgot, because also I completely forgot what happened in season 1. Was there some beef? And then you can actually see Annie, and she starts like, honestly, Annie this whole was kind of cute. But yo, we gotta take a second. Shout outs to Armin. My man Armin, this man's a real one, because he actually comes to Annie's defense and tells her, like, oh, stop it, Connie, she hasn't eaten one in 4 years. Like, yo, shout outs to Armin, man. He's a real one, man. He's a real one. Anyway, but eventually, then we get back to Hitch, who finally comes back with another pie for Annie, and I guess they were going to share it. And that's when she realized Annie's gone, and underneath, like, her, like, I don't know, pint or whatever this thing's called, there's a note. And in the note, she basically says that she's leaving and she's joining up with Armin and the others. And she says, sincerely, your gloomy roommate. And so then Hitch is like, how am I supposed to eat this by myself? So then, afterwards, that's when we head back over to like the tower or whatever, where both Flouch and John have Nyan Capone and Yelena both at gunpoint as Flouch is giving off his speech about how these two have dared to turn against the Eldian Empire, gives them all these long introductions that gives them the entire life stories about Yelena, how she was a big part of the euthanasia plan in reality, but now that's all wrong, blah 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 blah, they're gonna kill him. And so they're like, yeah, you were no match the subject of your mere die, you harlot! And they're like just chanting, shoot, shoot, shoot. And then we get to Nyan Capone, who I was interested when he got his speech, because he says that he really didn't do anything wrong, but he dared to say he chose death over a life under the Eldian Empire. Also, he also asks Elaine if she has any followers, and she says, "Aren't you gonna shoot yet?" So he then says, "Well, if you want to change your mind in Jacopo, now's your time." But he just starts bursting out laughing, saying, "I assisted Elliot to save my homeland from Marlia, and as a result of that, my homeland will be trampled and my family will be slaughtered. The only ones left are a bunch of pathetic xenophobic scoundrels." Whoa! All right, and Jacopo, I see you, my guy. I see you, my brother. And it like goes on like a life was not worth living means I have to flatter the likes of you, and so you should already know how unreasonable it is to kill all of a sudden indiscriminate murder. Why don't you guys understand? As everyone just looks at him with like disgust, and then he's like John. He's like asking John to back him up, but John just points his gun at him, and then we get like this faraway shot of basically just the castle itself, and you hear 4 gunshots go off. I got shocked when we heard the first one. I thought, oh shit, he actually killed him. And then I heard 2, and I'm like, oh shit, he must have killed Yelena too. Then I heard 2 more, and I'm like, god damn, what the hell? God damn, what is he shooting? Is he like making sure he's dead with all these fucking shots? But then we see that he actually completely missed them. He's like, oh shoot, I missed. And verily John's been taking a play out of Aaron's playbook here. And so Flouch is like, what are you doing? And then that's when Peak shows up and just comes charging right towards them. And I got excited because I'm like, oh yes, finally, Flouch is gonna die. Flouch is gonna die. But no, John pushes him out of the way, and Peak ends up eating John and Jan Capone as well as Yelena and runs off. So then after that, everyone is trying to trying to chase after that Cartitan. And then when Flouch gets up, he's like, where is Mikasa? Then he's like, oh shit, where is Mikasa? And then we see that Mikasa, Armin, and the rest of them are underground with like these 2 like carriages with like I guess supplies and other shit. And so and then we found out that the 4 shots was a signal from John for them to go, so because they were going to be distracted with the cart Titan. So then they start running off. Annie looks behind her, and then we see that there's somebody in the window who is wearing a suit but completely in shadow. We don't see his face or anything, watching them. Now, obviously, this is something that we all are wondering. Who is that mysterious man? Now, honestly, I could not give you an answer because I honestly forget which characters are still alive that we maybe haven't seen in a while. I honestly can't really think of anyone because of how long it's been. I don't know. Maybe it's fucking Kenny. Maybe he somehow survived. Maybe I don't know. Maybe somehow Erwin survived and he's been in hiding this entire time. Honestly, I couldn't tell you who this guy is, man. I honestly could not tell you. Maybe it's Sasha. Maybe she survived her gunshot. I don't fucking know. But if you guys got your own theories and speculations, please leave them down in the comments. I'd like to hear them and just see what rumors are, what are the theories going around here, because honestly, I can't think of anybody. Anyway, we then cut back to John, and Yelena and Jacopo. John is throwing up in the water. I guess the smell of Peak's mouth in her Titan form was that disgusting. He's like, I'm never getting back inside the mouth of a Titan ever again. And so he asked, and then Jacopo asked John, why did he save him? Because his position could have been secured if he just, stayed there. And he said he wished he could have just been cooped up in his room and kept his ears shut, but the ashes of the dead would never forgive him. And Jacopo says, I have no idea what you're talking about, but thank you. So then we see Yelena, who was just like, why did you save me? And then they said that the conditions to join to use the Cartitan be allies with them, and of course now they're basically John and the others are now basically working for Marlia, and they're on their side now. Interesting. Interesting that now these guys are now on the side of Marlia. But anyway, was the condition for their alliance was to bring you in alive. And then when Yelena looks behind her, she's just staring into the commander, who is staring into her very soul. And also, speaking of the whole thing with Peak's mouth, I almost forgot to mention this. Hanji actually asked Peak, like, hey, if the cart Titan can spend like months in her Titan form, how do you brush your teeth? And then she says, that's very rude to say to a lady. So most likely she doesn't. Given the fact that also John threw up after when he got out of there, I suggest this woman does not brush her teeth. At least when she's in her Titan form, man. But anyway, after that, that's when Andy kicks Ryder in the face to get him to wake up. He gets up and he's like, "Honey?" And then we got Connie, or rather Falco, telling like, "Oh, don't worry, Ryder, we're on the same side." And then Connie just looks at him, and the look of disgust on this man's face. He says, "We have no time. Let's go to where, and we're going to save the world." Yo, that last shot where we see everyone looking at Ryder. Oh, what a beautiful shot, man. What a phenomenal shot. That's a shot where I might actually try and get that in the thumbnail. Maybe. But damn, that's a damn movie. The cinematography in this episode, as always, was pretty good, man. So yeah, that's basically where the episode ends, man. And yeah, crazy, another banger episode, man. The next episode preview looks like it's gonna be very interesting. Definitely the biggest questions from this episode is, who is that mystery man in the tower? Is it an old character that we maybe haven't seen for a while? Is it perhaps a new character? Who knows, man? Who knows? Like I said, you guys got your own theories and speculation. Leave them down in the comments, because like I said before, I ain't got shit. I don't even know where to begin, man. But yeah, man. Overall, once again, give this episode a 10 out of 10, guys. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you like it, if you did, subscribe if you do. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter if you like it. Links down in the description box below. And as always, come back for more. See you guys next time.